Welcome to the Teaching Bites podcast. Here are your hosts, Fred and Sharon Jaravada.
And welcome to our show. My name is Fred.
And I'm Sharon.
And this is the Teaching Bites podcast. We are here in at our friends, Eric and Stef, in their beautiful new home in the East Bay. And we are interviewing Stefanie, who is a former classroom teacher and used to work in the same school where Sharon used to work. So we're interviewing her to get her insights and thoughts of the things that she went through in teaching and share with us any advice that she has from stepping away from teaching. Okay? So Sharon, let's get started. Okay. And hi, Stef.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
So I just want to clarify, Stef used to work where I currently work.
Yes.
So when she left, then I came in.
In a public school system, right?
Yep. So first we want to talk about how we know each other.
Okay.
And so you know Fred.
So
Why
I
don't you
know
just tell it.
I know Fred from college.
We went to USF together, University of San Francisco.
Yes, and we are actually sorority and fraternity sister and brother.
Right, exactly.
Which is how I met him. And like after we graduated, we just kept in touch. We worked at the Caret Center, the kids camp together, and we've always kept in touch. He was probably the only person from USF that I really kept in touch with. And when I became a mom, I asked him to be the godfather of my our daughter.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So cool. So that's one of my oldest friends, most trusted friends also. So and she got into teaching and it was very cool, you know. It's nice to have that connection there.
And now we're godparents to your other daughter, and you're godparents to our two kids.
Yeah.
So
Two kids.
we've been friends a long time.
We've been
Yes.
godparents to each other's kids. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, over 10 years, huh?
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, Stef, so tell us your origin. What's your origin story? Tell us something about your background and how you got into teaching.
Well, I actually was a psych major in college. I thought I was going to get my PhD and work with abused children, but I pretty much figured that I'm a very sensitive person. So I was like, okay, that avenue is not going to work for me. But I've always worked with kids. I've done a lot of babysitting. I've worked in camps and stuff. So it just sort of, that was like my next option, my next avenue. My cousin, who I used to take care of since he was a baby, I spent a lot of time with him, and I watched him grow up. And then one time he came over to my mom's house, and my aunt was like, yeah, why don't you read to her? And he read the Curtis comic to me, and I was like, wow, he's a first grader. He can read now. And I was really amazed by that. So I was like, that made me start thinking more about teaching. And I went into teaching from then on.
Did you have anybody, like a mentor before you went in, or someone you could talk to about, how to get your credential or what you have to do?
No, actually. Yeah, I remember going up USF, the Lone Mountain. There was an office for education, and he was explaining me what I had to do, and it was pretty overwhelming. I was just like, whoa. Yeah, so I guess I just sort of researched it on my own. I mean, I didn't stick with USF. I actually ended up going to San Francisco State University because their credential program was pretty well known. Yeah. And so I just ended up going there. Yeah.
Okay.
Which you went there too, Sharon, right?
Yes, I did. I did.
The San Francisco State's program.
Really good program I went to. So tell us, once you got your credential, what happened until now?
So when I got my credential, I started applying for jobs. I remember the district had like a pre-interview. I don't remember what it was called. The Haberman. Did you ever go through the Haberman?
What was it called?
The Haberman interview or something like that?
know.
Where they asked you a couple of questions. I don't know. I guess to pre-screen you, I guess. And then I was able to start looking for jobs and stuff. So that was quite an experience because I've never interviewed before, and stuff. And I actually, in the end, I got hired 2 weeks before school started at a school with a big Chinese population. And
What grade?
It was a fourth grade. Yeah, it was fourth grade. And 2 weeks before school started, the teacher decided, I guess, last minute she was going to go on sabbatical. So they needed someone. And I ended up getting that. So
throws you right in. That's very typical, right?
Yeah, 2
jobs
weeks.
this summer.
I remember seeing the bookcase full of the teacher manuals, and I had to go next door and ask the other teacher, like, where do I start?
Yeah.
Because there
Where
were
do
so
you
many.
start, right?
Yeah, because I had no clue,
Right, so
and
fourth
everything.
grade, right?
It was a fourth grade, position.
How long?
It was just a year, get my foot in the door in the district.
yeah.
And then after that, I had to look for another job. And then I ended up, getting a fifth grade position at the school that you're at now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You were there for how many years?
I think like 6 or 7 years. Yeah. So upper grade. Yeah. I was more geared for upper grade.
Right.
With the way I was.
Can you tell us more about your fifth grade position, or what it exactly was, so that our audience knows?
In elementary school, it's basically a multiple subject position where you're teaching reading, writing, math, social studies, and science. So I pretty much, did that. And then after my principal left, the new principal that we got in, she actually changed the fourth and fifth grade. So it was like Common Core, where it would fourth and fifth grade, one teacher would take language arts and the other teacher would take math and science. So in the fifth grade, I took language arts. So I was responsible for social studies, spelling, reading, and writing. And then we would flip-flop after lunch. So I would get the other class and my class would go
It's
next
like
door.
middle school model.
Yeah, like sixth grade, so they started that. And a lot of parents, were really supportive of the program. They really liked it, you know, and it was a good chance for me to get to know the kids. I think, the work might have been, I don't know, might have been kind of the same, but I think too, for me, like teaching language arts, I feel is a lot easier than teaching math and science, but grading language arts.
Yeah, that's another thing.
That's a whole other thing.
I know. But it gets the kids ready for middle school, and actually it's still going on right now.
Yeah.
Same model.
Yeah.
It's just not in fourth grade, but in fifth grade it's still there, and it is really good for the kids to get ready.
Yeah.
You know?
So I liked it. I like teaching reading. Reading was one of my biggest things. So
Did you find that because you had 2 periods, like you refine your lesson after the first time, and then you can like improve it?
Maybe. I don't know, because, I did have 2 different group of kids.
Yeah.
And actually, when I ran reading, I ran reading groups. So I would split each group into leveled reading. So I was very big on differentiated teaching, differentiated learning. Yeah, I was, really into that and stuff.
Oh, you have to do it that way.
Yeah.
For those kids. So how'd you get your ideas to differentiate? Remember?
I don't know actually, but I think it's probably started when I got the 5th grade job, because I think one of the biggest challenges that I had was, I was going to have gate kids for the first time. Because in my 4th grade position, it was more bilingual, second language learners. And for 5th grade, my principal purposely pointed out that I had a parent who was very particular about her son's needs and wanted to make sure they were going to be met and everything. So I actually had a meeting with her, the principal, and I think her son too. So she kind of helped me. I guess the librarian that she knew in Marin County, she had like a list. She passed a list of all these kind of gate leveled books, and I just sort of picked one and started from there. And that's, I guess that's probably how I got launched into differentiated learning. Yeah, teaching.
All right. So, so you've done 5th grade, and then what happened after that?
So 5th grade, I mean, I was teaching 5th grade for a while, and I became a mom of 2, and my youngest one, she was not the easiest baby.
Yeah, I remember those days.
I call her my my little Joey, because all I could do for her was basically carry her. She didn't want to go to anybody. Her dad and I were basically stuck in the apartment for the first 11 months of her life because we couldn't get a babysitter. And she really changed my view, I think, on life, I mean, here teaching was such a big part of my identity. I never thought I would leave that classroom. But after becoming a mom of 2, it was just, I don't know, my little one, I just got really attached to her. And so I was lucky enough to have the option of either staying or becoming a stay-at-home mom, you know, because their dad, he had to commute to Silicon Valley every day. And so I ended up staying home. And so now I'm a stay-at-home mom who volunteers and used to be active on PTA for a couple of years. So yeah, it's really, expanded my view because I'm still active in the schools.
Right, right. So what was your most challenging moment you had with a colleague, and how did you overcome that?
I'm sorry I can't provide any juice here because basically I was very fortunate to work with great teachers, other staff members who, once I got the 5th grade position, they welcomed me.
Were you the youngest there at that time? Or?
I was. Yeah, I was the youngest and the least seniority.
Veterans, right?
They were total veterans, yeah. And one of the other teachers, he had kids that were my age, Yeah. Yeah. So, I didn't have any issues with anybody. I was pretty just easygoing. I'm very, very open to ideas. I've done buddies, kindergarten buddies. I did 1st grade social study buddies. So, I was pretty laid back. I got along with everybody, and I'm very fortunate that, I worked, especially for 5th grade and the upper grades, I worked with really good people.
Well, the lucky thing about the school is that it's, the teachers are really helpful. They're really genuinely really nice.
Yes.
And that's very rare to have sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they all really care about the kids.
Definitely. So, I know.
So actually, I'm very lucky because I was actually consolidated out of my last position. And luckily I knew you, and you tell your principal. Why don't you tell a story?
So, I heard Sharon was looking. She told me because she's always been at the bottom of the totem pole at her school. And we had a 3rd grade teacher that was retiring. And I told the principal, I said, hey, if you are going to the those consolidation meetings, meeting those teachers, I said, Sharon Tam, she's really good. She's very organized. She's disciplined. I go, she would be great for the 3rd grade. And so, she checked you out, and she liked you immediately.
And thanks to you, I'm still there.
Hey, it helps to know people,
But what's funny, too, is that I started, when I started teaching, I had a position at your school first. And then I got hired at another school, and I decided the other one.
Yeah, but it was a good thing that you did, because I think you probably would have got bumped out.
Yeah, so it's like a full circle thing. It's something's very cool about energy.
One thing I'm curious about. Okay, so Steph, when you were in that school, you had your faculty. How many % of the faculty have stayed, and how many % of the faculty have left? When you, Sharon, how many people are the same faculty? That
From when Stefanie was there?
Yeah, I don't think I've even been asking this right, but yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh, like how many have stayed on since she left when I'm there?
Yeah.
Most of them.
Most of them. Oh, yeah.
It's a school you don't want to leave.
Yes. Yeah. If they leave, it's because they retire.
Right.
Right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of my colleagues has been there for a long time.
It's not high at all.
No.
That's good.
I would say, that school is ranked in the middle. It's a good
it's
school.
getting more well known now. That's like harder to get in. as a student, and then teacher wise, it's not as available. Yeah,
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember, like you, I was one of the youngest faculty members in my school now. I'm the middle-aged one now. I've been there. Like, I'm the middle-aged one now, and I see these young teachers coming in, and they're just so inspired. So I'm like, but I also look at them. I want to help them, but I'm looking at them like, you just don't know what's going to happen next.
They have so much energy.
They have so much energy, right?
I mean, at your goddaughter's school, former school, most of them, they're all young. They're all young teachers.
Yeah.
They're all young and new,
Right.
Keeps going.
Yep.
All right. So, what was your favorite lesson you've done, or a project, and like a PDD?
So I'd probably say, I apologize. I have mommy brain, so everything's sort of like a blur ever since I became a mother. But
Real life got in the way. Right?
yeah.
Well, tell us. It's been like 8 years.
Yeah.
Right? So just so our audience knows.
But one, writing was a subject that I personally was not strong in before. And then when we got in the new principal who had her PhD, she was really into writing, and she had us get into this curriculum by Ralph Fletcher. It's called Teaching Qualities of Writing. And, we had workshops and we read the books over the summer, and I liked it a lot. And it's one of the lessons that I really loved was teaching nonfiction writing to students, where basically the approach was, it wasn't just writing paragraphs of facts copied out from books and the internet. It was like your introductory paragraph. You would basically put yourself in that person's shoes and, guessing from what you read about that person, you would create an opening paragraph of sort of like a day in the life of, Abe Lincoln, for example. So, I would show them an example, and then we would do an example together. Then they would maybe start on their outline or their opening paragraphs, or maybe have them do it as a table group before they tried it individually. But I really liked it. I thought it was so much more fun approaching, nonfiction writing than just having to, spit back out facts about someone.
Right. Because, kids are really love to do their own narratives. But then that's a common core wise that nonfiction is so big, and so how do you access that? And that seems like a really great way to engage them in it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it because it put them, they got to walk a mile in that person's shoes. It wasn't just about picking someone for the sake of doing the writing. It was they really got to know that person, kind of
Empathy.
Yeah. Intimately. Yeah. So that was really fun.
Did they dress up?
No, I didn't think of that.
Well, they do sometimes. Yeah, it's okay, but I've heard people do that.
That would have been fun, but I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite tech tool or workflow hack that helped you in your teaching?
You're going to totally laugh, but back when I was teaching, technology was not that big.
Did you have internet back then?
We did.
Dial-up?
Excuse you. You're
Way back, no internet people.
We did have internet, yes, but it wasn't. Like the computer lab was made up of parent donations of computer parts they didn't want anymore or need anymore, and maybe we were lucky to have like a parent help run the lab, maybe do a few computer lessons with your class or something. They maybe did a little bit of internet research, but there really wasn't technology. I mean, I had
back then, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
It
was very. Sorry to interrupt, but
No.
it was very unreliable to the information back in the day.
And, I had the old overhead projector. Before that, was it the Elmo?
What's that?
Yeah. With the vis-a-vis markers, the white.
Yeah. I mean, that was my tool. And probably I would say the only other tool I had like my own personal IBM laptop. And when I would log in grades, I used Excel. And I remember parents actually being impressed by me bringing up their child's, Excel sheet or whatever and showing them the percentages and why. So yeah, that was like the big thing.
Yeah.
Funny, huh?
Now there's all these other softwares you could get.
I know.
Grading.
Yeah. Apps now and all
apps,
that.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
All right. So can you name some of your favorite books, movies, or other inspirational resources? Can't think of any right now.
I can't.
Okay, I know. It's a hard question.
I know that is.
Yeah.
I don't think,
Well, it doesn't have to be part of teaching or
Just
something.
anything that you like.
I don't know. I just felt, after always working with kids and hearing my cousin read.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't, book-wise and all that, movies, no, I don't think anything really inspired me. I just liked being a teacher and, threw myself wholeheartedly into whatever task I had to do and everything. But I do say, like, back then when there was money, when the district paid for like you to go to gate conferences and stuff.
That is ancient.
Yes, that was always fun, and it was always fun to meet other teachers, and or even see teachers that you knew, and just be able to chat with them, trade war stories. Oh yeah, what do you do for this? Or that was always inspirational. Being able to go to other places, venues.
Now, did that, so, and I agree with you 100% about, connecting with teachers. What I see the problem is today, and I'm sure that happened years ago also, is teachers, a lot of times they work in silos. You know what I mean? They're kind of stuck in their classroom, but it was nice to get away and actually connect with teachers out there also.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, like you said, trading war stories and finding out what they did. And that's very valuable to hear each other's stories.
Yes.
That's why we have something like podcasting today, right?
Yeah,
So-
we hope that these interviews we do will give your audience like insights into other experiences and because we can't speak for everybody, but we can at least offer
Right.
that for you.
Okay, so Steph, any regrets? What do you think of stepping away? What do you think of all you stepped out for a while now? But what do you, or how did it feel? Do you ever have thoughts of going back, or you're glad not to going back?
Deciding to stay home was, it was a big decision, like I said before. But I don't have any regrets. I'm a mom. That's my full-time job right now of raising my daughters, not just socially, but, also academically. I mean, I'm fortunate that I do have the teaching background where I can help them with their homework, if need be.
Yeah, so, okay, so great. I mean, family is always number one. I'm going to skip down to the future question, to a future question now. Being a former teacher now and a parent now, what's your perspective now on teaching as a parent now and what you see today in your daughter's educational experiences?
Well, I was very active at their former school, and those teachers work hard. Compared to my day, there's so much more they have to do from the district, and the changing into the Common Core curriculum. And I have so much more respect for them. I think they're fantastic. And I also think it's fascinating. Like, I still like education, the new things that they do. They had Promethean boards. I thought that was pretty fascinating because, I didn't have something like that back in my day and stuff. So, every little thing that they did and stuff that you talk about, it's totally fascinating to me. I mean, I like reading about it, from your links and stuff. And, it's really cool. Yeah. But it's a lot of hard work. The job is so much more demanding. I don't know how they do it, especially those that have families, that have to multitask like that.
Yeah, my colleagues are like, wow, your kids are so young and you can teach full time. And I'm like, well, that's all I've known because she took off time when her kids were young, but she's now back full time. So, you know.
Yeah, I always get asked if I go back, and I tell them I don't know, you know, because I know the demands.
Right.
And, you know, I think I'm so up in the air. It's just because just the way that I personally am, you know, I like to be there for my girls, and I can only multitask so much, you know, without things, you know, I mean, you know, like you said, you like to do something 110%, and I do too, you know, and I like to be there for my girls, you know, because I have this opportunity to be home and to, you know, to be there, to watch
them grow up.
And stuff. So going back, I don't know. If maybe like a part-time, maybe. I wouldn't mind that, but like a full-time, that's hard, especially since I've taught 5th grade for so long that I know the amount of paperwork that builds up, and it's just, it's hard.
I mean, would you go into another part of education maybe?
Like,
I don't know, like a counselor or just a reading specialist or something that's education, but not a self-contained classroom. You know what I mean? Have you thought of that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. Sorry, no.
I know.
No, being a parent is the ultimate job, right? It's the ultimate teaching job. You know, you're teaching your kids and taking care of the family and your spouse, and you know, it's incredible. It's stay-at-home parents. They don't get enough props today, you know.
Agreed.
I agree. Thank you.
So what do you do? What's your job? A stay-at-home.
Or you don't
what's
work,
your job?
or I get like, oh, so you don't work. I'm like, no, I do work. I don't bring in a paycheck, but
I don't pay
do
taxes,
work.
but I do work.
I do work.
All right. So what's the best advice that you ever received in teaching?
So I say the best advice that I've received, and I always tell other teachers, is say what you mean and do what you say. Because, you know, your classroom, you got to be able to have good management in order to get things accomplished. And that's what's a big thing for me, classroom management, you know? And so you definitely have to be consistent, and you have to mean what you say, and you need to carry out you know, what you say.
All right, so Steph, you have a really big hobby you love. Can you tell us more about what that is?
Passion, you have a new passion. I've seen it grow.
Oh,
it's amazing.
I'm a knitter. I got into knitting to kind of decompress from motherhood, and I always tell people it's my form of yoga.
Yeah, and calming.
So I like creating with my hands. I think when I was teaching, I didn't do enough art, you know, creating with the hands and different mediums. That's one thing I regret, because I think kids, you know, they do need that, and everything besides just pounding the academics. So, so I knit a lot.
So what do you knit?
I knit beanies, I knit socks, I've knitted sweaters, scarves, cowls, infinity scarves, blankets.
And I've seen you really amp up your skills over the years.
Yeah.
From us, you started with scarves. Remember, you made it for us, and then now you're making these complex sweaters.
Yeah.
For kids too, and that seems like it's really hard to do.
It's a learning process, you know. I in a way, I guess you could say I became a student all over again, you know, where I started with the basics, and I just basically built up my skills, you know. And part of knitting, of getting better knitting, besides practice, is, you know, trying out patterns that will introduce new skills. You know, you may not do so well in the beginning, but after some time, you definitely do. So, you know, I consider myself now an intermediate knitter.
Well, in case any of our audience is interested in what you do, where can they find you online?
I do have a little knitting blog. It's called Woolly Cakes and Wooden Spoons. My blog used to be named something before, but I just felt like a shift since we've moved and my kids kids are older now, and I
Yeah.
kind of have more time to focus on my knitting.
And we'll put that in the show notes so you guys could just click on it. You don't need to worry about writing it down.
So there's a lot of knitting, but I also, I cook, I run.
I know,
So
all that.
Yeah, and I blog, books I read. I'm an avid reader too, and everything. So yeah, so if you're ever want to get into the fiber arts, people take. There's like free classes at Michael's or Beverly's, or you can go on YouTube. Or there's classes at what we call LYS, local yarn stores. You could definitely learn. Some people have learned from books and stuff. And also there's a website called Ravelry. It's like kind of like a Facebook for people who knit, crochet, weave yarn, dye yarn. It's crazy.
And you have your
Spin
own
yarn.
site on Ravelry, right?
Yeah,
Your own
well, on
page?
Ravelry you have your own like your notebook page. It features the projects that you made, the patterns you've used, and then you could put all the little notes like your size needles, the yarn you use, and or any modifications that you've done yourself.
Cool.
Very cool. I can't wait to read your book on this, on knitting. Or at least your YouTube channel one day. That's so cool. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for
We
having
really
me.
appreciate that. We always appreciate teachers, former teachers, veteran teachers, any teacher. If you're once a teacher, you're always a teacher.
And thank you, Stefanie. We really appreciate your time, and it's been so nice just chatting with you.
And you're hosting us in your beautiful home.
Thank you.
Doing this podcast episode.
You're always
Very
welcome
cool.
here.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening. Remember to share this story, share this podcast with other teachers, and we'll see you next time.
And happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Teaching Bites podcast at www.teachingbites.com.